Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Stalwarts interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim to make these sessions that are a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such personage on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Sonam Paliwal. As a giant in the logistics industry with 3 decades of experience, he excels in the field of air and surface network in maintaining timely and expeditious delivery with optimum business functions. He has an excellent track record of supply chain management, network optimization, maximisation of profits, and minimisation of costs. At present, he is working with Ecom Express Limited as its Senior Vice President. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Paliwal.
Thank you, Sunny. Thanks a lot.
So to begin with, you have worked for the logistics and supply chain management industry throughout your professional life. You also have a master's degree in tourism administration. So what was the reason for you to develop a knack for this?
Sunny, this related to my inclinations. My born and brought up in a particular state, which is Rajasthan, which is heritagely very, very rich. If you see, it has high foreign inbound tourism also. So I did this degree. I was the in first batch of MTA, which is Master of Tourism Administration from Rajasthan, and it is not like that immediately I went into logistic industry. I was there initially for 4 to 5 years serving in airlines. I started my career as a airport assistant, airport manager, then station in charge, station manager. I started my career with initial private airlines like East West Airlines, Damania Airways. And with the airlines, I understood the domestic geography, operations, turnaround time for the people traveling across the country. Fortunate enough to have similar corporate giants in Rajasthan using my airline services. They were also an exporter, importer, domestic players. Like I can give some example of Bhilwara is a belt where most of clients were flying with my airlines when I was serving. All these industries, yarn industries, were doing sampling abroad, doing sampling across the countries. So similar kind of study for turnaround of their sample courier and the reach and the costing. At par, I understood that it is almost, same kind of working. So initially, when I was in airlines, private airlines, they were struggling in India because of non-clarity of rules and regulations. They were bound to operate in a non-profitable routes. To look into a particular dilemma, I shifted myself into express industry, which is courier, cargo, express, on-time industry, and that was developing that time. And I got an opportunity to join a company who was doing export sampling through international courier and having a domestic good network. I started learning there, and after learning, I switched to a new company, Gati Limited. I worked there in Central Zone, in South. Later on, I joined Blue Dart Express, which has its own aviation division, Blue Dart Aviation also. I worked there as a network head for surface. I was a key element and initial core person to launch their surface division, which is doing currently more than 1,200 crore rupees for them. Later on, looking to the expansion of e-commerce industry, which has come in the country 2012 to 2014. I have joined Ecom Express and currently running a Ecom Express air and road network. So I should say, after doing my degree, I was, yes, very well associated with aviation industry. It is a service sector and study of turnaround times, adoption of new technologies in both the 3PL as aviation, handling cargo and people with the sensitivity of time is almost a same factor which has pushed me to the 3PL supply chain, and I started enjoying working here, and later on I continue in this.
Okay. So, continuing our conversation, we would like to know which is your most significant achievement whereby the task seemed difficult in the beginning but had marvelous results.
Sunny, I would like to quote 3-4 incidents. It cannot be one in journey of 3 decades. Besides my aviation career in logistic industry, I was in Gati Limited, and there was a brand change of a company in 2003. Complete structure change, organization structure was getting changed. Their vehicle paints were getting changed, their logos were getting changed. I was in core committee of that branding of company. Execution of the culture from top to bottom with new branding to teach people on integrity and KPI driven work culture was a very, very tough task in 2003. I am talking about a long back. So that was the first challenge I faced, and it was a phase of almost 30 to 45 days when I was traveling across the country to different units, to different facilities, meeting, interacting, arranging some workshops to make people understand why this branding is required and what this branding means, and further education towards adaptability, further education towards KPI driven companies culture, further education towards the new structure, organization structure of a company was drilled down by me and other core members all across the country. So these 30, 45 days were very, very challenging to create a new mindset for better efficiency within the team, within the people, within the company, within different functions also. Second thing I should like to quote, again 2012 and 13 period when e-commerce industry started evaluating in India, market platforms, online purchasing, door delivery, use of smartphone. This has started festive flooding of number of shipments, number of transactions into any of that time courier companies. And to make a faster delivery, people were using air mode that time. That was very, very costly. There was a books, electronic items, apparels movement started, and many DG shipments restricted towards air has forced us to think on a faster commuting on road. We have studied complete road network of India, all national highways, all toll and barriers, all study of state level permits that time, which is under wet era, and we were able to change the mindset of people from normal road travel by a commercial vehicle to a speed trucking. we started demanding, we started executing fast turnarounds on roads. Travel time has been reduced by 20%. So there was a new segment has arrived between air and road. Normal road is normal, air is faster. So with the speed trucking on a road, we have arrived to a particular hybrid model which is faster than road, cheaper than air, and all these companies which are like Amazon, Snapdeal, Flipkart, Mantra started using this mode. They have also inbuilt the uh, similar kind of faster turnaround network design between their own captive networking on captive working of operations. This has given a good boost to this industry to sustain people because there was a less cost involved in road, and you were getting faster turnaround times, faster tags, faster arrival at destinations by using speed trucking. A Rather than a bigger size vehicle, 20, 22 feet vehicles were used. Rather than getting a 35 or 30-kilometer average running hours, we were able to achieve 45 to 48 kilometer per hour per mile running on Indian roads, which has changed the complete scenario and a great boost to this trucking industry. That was a challenging time for me to understand myself, study, and then educate, especially the truckers also, because they were worried about, drivers and crews life and safety and security on roads. But we have studies on which road what kind of better speeds can be achieved, and a cheaper transport model in comparison to air, and a faster model of transport in comparison to traditional surface movement can be created. This was second. And third was definitely it was government's uh, push, government's best initiative towards the logistic industry, that government has implemented GST in 2017. Government has invited few of us logistician. I am one of them who has been traveled to GSTN office, Celtex offices, met so many commissioners, attended government workshop. Government has created one document, one nation concept. To make this success, use of computer literacy between sender, receiver, and the transport, to understand that VAT regime is not there. For import into the states, every state does not have a different kind of requirement of permit, rules and regulations. There is only one rule of GST. To educate, implement this was a difficult task for initial 15 days, 20 days, to approach our existing vendors and associates and business partners to bill us on the correct GST, to ensure that they follow all guidelines, to record everything into government portal, e-way bill portal, GSTN portal, timely their GSTN returns. It was Hercules task in initial 30 to 40 days with a deadline, although the government was preparing for this a year ahead. But when it was implemented after one or two extended dates, suddenly the final date as a deadline been implemented in July 2017, and people were partially prepared. To make them prepared, to ensure that they use it, follow it, adhere it, it was a challenging period. But after adhering this GST implementation along with e-way bill, which is a part of Indian transport mechanism as on date, Everybody has seen huge benefits from it. We can see huge benefits of turnaround of our vehicles. One example, into Kerala, every goods was having a different sales tax percentage in comparison to other states in country, and there was a long queue at sales tax border which was known as Walyar border in Kerala. Everything used to enter from there. Every goods percentage used to check. Vehicles used to stand there, park there, hold there in a queue for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Based on this congestion, people used to incur a lot of cost on the transport to specific states like Kerala and others, or West Bengal also. But with the implementation of GST and e-way bill by Indian government in 2017, we had a tough time to implement for initial 30-40 days, but the complete logistic industry got a huge benefits. Number of authorities been reduced to check because there was a one permit, one documentation to take, one applicability of percentage of tax on goods, and I named the Walyar, which is still there, but you will find that hardly any queue there, hardly any uh, crowd of drivers and trucks is there as on date. Number of cell tax barriers has been removed. Number of unnecessary check of documents, which was based on state level permits, is been removed, and this industry got a great change in terms of not only the travel, transport, in terms of huge warehouses also. We used to take a dream of big warehouses when we entered into this logistic industry in late 90s, or I said early 20s. We are fortunate enough that since last 2017, we can see huge facility being used by express company as well as by the customers, just because of the implementation of a right step by the Indian government. So these were 2, 3 major challenges which I can recall.
Absolutely. So, building on that, Mr. Paliwal, what message would you like to give the future leaders of the corporate world?
Sir, in this context, I will like to say that logistics is an industry. Anybody who is coming and wants to be a leader in this industry, he needs to understand that this supply chain, this express, this cargo, this trucking is an industry. This has a huge potential, huge importance in a country's economy. And I would like to tell you that these leaders with better adaptability, with better skill of data analytics, with use of AI, ML and the new technology, has a huge potential to grow in their life. They should come forward for this challenging job, which requires their, a cycle of 24 by 7 mentally available to run their big warehouses, big supply chain rotations and everything. But besides all these things, with the new government rules, with efficient vehicles available on road, with new very good infrastructure, if anybody is coming in this industry, he has a good adaptability in his mind, good interpersonal skill, and good data analytics skill, besides the geographical skill and understanding of this huge country, India. Definitely, people should come forward and adopt this industry, and they will definitely having a long path to go, long career can build here in this
Rightly said. So, I hope all the future leaders who are watching this interview have made a good note of all the points mentioned by Mr. Paliwal. Moving ahead, do you think that the logistics industry need a better ESG integration?
With this program through Directors Institute only, I started to understand ESG, and fortunate enough to induct a smaller form of ESG into my existing company, e-commerce company, which is Ecom Express Limited. A different function has been created in the name of EHS, Employee Health and Safety. Although this is similar, almost like an ESG, but it is a very small part as on date. We have created a team of 10 to 12 people. Now we started looking safety of people in-house. We started looking fire NOC certificates of our buildings, our warehouses. We started looking after safety of people on road. Our 90% of the strength of logistic is on road. We have started in-depth training. We are able to understand that we have a social responsibility also, like a warehouse which is outside from a metro city like Bhiwandi or Gurgaon, then the population of nearby villages is coming to work for us. We started partnering in these villages by providing, solar lights, in summers water coolers. So we are able to, after going ESG programs, few complete one hours call from this course, a complete discussion within the team and company has been done. Company was already ready to understand the carbon points and all these things, but there is a start given in the company by creating a small function of 10 to 20 people who visits my facilities all across the country, make people educated on this. And now company also, senior level, junior level, everybody need to understand that yes, there is a responsibility towards society and environment also. And I should say that currently we are in a stage where, our activities we can explain and do, but very soon we will find that government norms will be more strict and we will be in a situation that we will be in a position to do it, forced to do it or explain. So I feel there is a still long way to go for logistic industry with CNG vehicles, with LPG vehicles nowadays, with electronic vehicles, electronic commercial vehicles for intracity use. We are very much concerned on the environment. We are very much concerned on the drivers' safety and their health. We have number of even government has started initiating on new express highways. You will find the restrooms of drivers, which currently the private companies like us has in our bigger facility. But recently, I've been traveled from Delhi to Jaipur on new express highway, which will be later on completely be a new travel experience between Delhi to Mumbai. So the complete first phase has been completed, and you will find that there is a complete separate restrooms and separate facilities been provided, looking to importance of transport officials, I should say, on road. I will not like to say drivers. I will like to say transport crew and the officials who are on road to serve this nation, to serve the countries, to corporate houses and the industry. They started getting these kind of facility, and still we have a long way to go on this. Then government has to force it, compel it, as many as public limited can be, companies can be covered. It government has to expedite this drive.
Absolutely. So before we conclude our discussion on corporate governance, I would like to ask you, since you are now an ESG corporate governance expert certified, what values do you bring to the table?
Currently, not only the management people, I am also ensuring that My business associates also understand this. My people working on floor also understand this. For an example, in the temperature of June and May, while loading of a container vehicle, people used to use a pedestal fan on a ground, exactly on the dock where the loading starts. When I educated them, they have removed that particular fan and they are starting wall mounted fans. They able to understand the safety. In recent things, not only the CNG vehicles, even after on a higher capital use, people being forced by us as per government rules, or after getting some education on ESG, we have forced them to purchase CNG vehicles on a route which is feasible. So wherever once you are a certified guy, besides getting a good job as a ESG expert, to good expert to create BRSR reports and other reports, it is very important that in first phase you start educating people on, safety, security of people, environment, materials, all these things surrounding it.
Okay. So my next is on technology, since it has become an integral part of our lives. So we would like to know how much technologically dependent is your field? What are the most significant changes you have seen in your field with technological implementations? And what changes do you see ahead with technology trends?
Sunny, I would like to, strongly in favor to explain this to the people that, it's a great fusion between human and technology today. It's required to ensure you reduce your cost and you gain efficiency in your business. You must have a automation. Let me explain you the current e-commerce 3PL players, including the Amazon transport system, eCart, which is Flipkart company, and delivery. My competitor and my company, Ecom Express Limited, has a number of automated centers. My company currently is having factory environment kind of facilities. This the throughput with the human for shorting or doing can be 6,000 piece, 4,000 piece per hour, and for that you need more than semi-skilled people. If you are able to create identification by device, sorting by automation, you will be getting a throughput of 24,000 shipments processing in an hour. So see the difference between 4 to 24 hours, 24 numbers productivity change within 1 hour, within 60 minutes. Technology has its own cost. To infrastructure you have to inbuild, but it will be a long lasting to ensure that people need to unlearn traditional way of working. People for safety, for better turnout, for better productivity, for better efficiency, which will reduce their cost, has to adopt automation, mechanization. Mechatronic warehouses are required to work on floor, on field, for creating best or further very, very appreciable customer experience. You have to adopt AI and ML. This artificial learning artificial intelligence and the machine learning technology is a boom to my industry. You have an experience of Zomato or Blinkit doing delivery at your home. They take your geo codes to deliver you. They are aware which route is the faster route to reach at your place to fulfill their commitment of reaching on time. From a warehouse which has thousands or 8,000 or 10,000 SKUs, timely pick, pack and delivery is possible because artificial intelligence and machine learning is being utilized. IoT is boom for transport industry. It tells which driver of mine is doing the rash driving, harsh braking, what to educate him. Which driver is ensuring that he is doing safe, secure and optimized travel. I use word optimized travel means he is burning less fuel by his every habits of driver. It is possible because the complete detail of his driving is available there in front of him. When a driver completes his travel between Chennai to Delhi in 50 hours today or 48 hours today, his in-house officials, his colleagues explain him what are the best driving practice he has adopted and what not. In waterlogging, in VIP movement, how to make a route diversion. Which are the spot there are huge congestion. Maybe a weighbridge barrier or maybe interstate barrier and some kind of checks taking extra time. If you want to inbuild that time and commit to your customers, this IoT is helping you. Long back, this IoT was only a device to know where is the vehicle, but it is today helping us to plan our network. Indian geography is so wide, vast, in a long span with different kind of terrain, different kind of traffic checks. Jammu to Srinagar, you have to follow a convoy, army convoy. In maybe when the capital getting shipped from Jammu to Srinagar, you may get roadblocks. Guwahati to Silchar in rainy seasons, there is a landslides, roadblocks and different things. If you go to an area towards south, you will find in heavy rainy season. Currently in Kerala, there is a heavy rainy rains in 2-3 states. Even the schools are closed, waterlogging, but our vehicles are there. We are reaching to the customer for every kind of supply. This has been possible because with the machine learning, we are able to store historical data. With the IoT available, we are able to execute the current scenario, current situations. This has not only given a good experience to the customer, end customer, but also helped logistic industry to gain efficiency, productivity, which in turn converted into cost saving. So tech with AI, ML, IoT is certainly now an integral part of logistic industry. And on floor working, mechanization, I said, it's a currently the automated warehouses or hubs or facilities or fulfillment centers can give you a great example of human and technology fusion.
That was so insightful of you, Mr. Paliwal. Moving to our next question and the last one of the session. We are building the global thought leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having a better corporate governance in the country. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by the WDC team?
See, before I will comment anything on this, I would like to appreciate last 2 years step of Indian government by creating a separate secretariat for logistics, by creating a complete program like Gati Shakti, where different functions, different ministry are integrating and defining a priority to ensure that infra projects, major projects, priority projects get executed faster. With WDC programs, definitely with the logisticians or with Indian experts, we will be able to, reduce the complexity and criticalities of Indian logistic in terms of my logistic industry and cargo industry. For an example, recently the Volvo company has entered with a 50-footer trucks and 30 metric tons capacity of trucks looking to the infrastructure. Now, Indian experts has made understand a foreign company that now the roads are ready, infrastructure is ready. This kind of infrastructure allows you to fly your, high capacity vehicles, which we used to afraid of. So all these things will definitely ensure that the rest of the WDC programs will get implemented on time. Inter-knowledge exchange will help, and definitely this will help each other. Yes, you are absolutely right. This program to me is very, very helpful. Frankly speaking, the revision of complete study material is still pending from my end. Due to some personal reasons, I have delayed my exam or rest of the things. But the video conferences I have attended with the experts arranged by Director Institute program was very, very knowledgeful. I'm able to confidently, handle so many things which was in my back of mind, and particularly how a director need to think, what kind of committee is available in a big organization, in a public limited or in a private limited organization, what is their functions, and you must be statutory compliance 100%. It is compulsion by government governed bodies, which initially was not in mind. We used to find the way, but now after joining this program, I am able to understand that to ensure the benefit to the stakeholders, a company has to be 100% statutory compliance, 100% discipline, morally, ethically, to govern their complete policy of government as well as the company's policy towards their employee, towards their customer, towards their stakeholder who are supplying them material or services. So this is my learning.
Great. Great, Mr. Paliwal. That was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunny. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.